So now the second component of this architecture is Hive services. Now, client interaction with the Hive, it can be performed through the Hive services. Right? So, client interactions with Hive can be performed using Hive services. Right. So this is the main functionality of this Hive services. The client wants to connect to the Hive servers. Those requests will be taken care by the Hive services. Right. So if a client wants to run any query related operation in Hive, right, it has to communicate through Hive services. Right. So if I say there is a Hive service, so the interaction from the client will go to this Hive services first, then further to the rest of the components. So it acts as a barrier. So it will take care of all the interactions of the client with the rest of the components of the Hive. Right? Now, there are two types of clients, Hive clients. Number one, or the you can say Hive services client. One is called Hive CLI and second is called Beeline. These two are the Hive CLI clients. Right. So Hive CLI is the command line interface for running DDL operations. Right. So all drivers, they communicate with the Hive servers and to the main driver in the Hive server services. Right. This Hive CLI is basically which connects directly to SDFS and the Metastore, because Metastore is another very important component of Hive architecture, and the Metastore and can be used only on the host with access to those services. Right? So if a particular host is having a access rights to access that particular services of the Hive, then this Hive CLI can be used to give commands from there. So Beeline is another CLI client through which we can give commands, so that client can interact with the Hive services, but it is supported by Hive server 2, which is called HS2. And so this Beeline, it is supported by Hive server 2, where user can submit its queries and commands to the system. Okay, so this Hive services is basically how client interact with Hive, and this component takes all those requests first. So if I go back, and you can see all these clients, either it is a thrift client or the JDBC based client or the ODBC based client, all they will interact first with this servers, Hive servers or Hive services, right? Where there is a CLI also, there is a web-based interface also, or there is a Hive server also in case of thrift server, and all these they will further connect with the driver. Right? So whatever the request which is coming from the Hive client, it is taken care by the CLI. Any one of these, either CLI or Hive server or Hive web interface, because Hive server, as I told you, it is based on the Apache Thrift. So the Thrift clients, they will send their request to this particular through this particular server, and then this server will interact with the Hive client, Hive drivers, right? So these are the services basically, or you can say user interfaces, which would help the various kinds of applications to interact with the drivers. Right? What are those drivers? That I will discuss in the next slide. I hope this is clear to everyone. What is the role of this Hive services? Right? Where these are the command line interfaces which would help the client to interact with the Hive by submitting their queries. Fine. So दो तरह के हैं. One is called Hive CLI and second is called Beeline. Right? Both are there, but this Beeline is supported in Hive Server 2 or HS2, and there is no support for HS1 in Hive. So there is a Hive Server 1 also, and there is no support of HS1 now. The other service which I'm talking about is the Hive Server 2. So this is another service which is there. One is the Hive CLI. Either we can use Beeline, both of them, but Beeline is supported in this. So this is another component which is there in case of Hive services. Right? So it is a successor of our Hive Server 1. Hive Server 1 or HS1. Now this Hive Server 2 enables this clients to execute queries against the Hive. So it allows multiple clients to submit requests to Hive and then retrieve the final result. So it is basically designed, this Hive Server 2 is basically designed to provide best support for open API clients like JDBC and ODBC. Right? So the requests which are coming from these clients, this Hive Server 2 was designed to support the requests which are coming from these open APIs like JDBC and ODBC. So the feature of this Hive Server 2 is it supports multi-client concurrency and authentication, where multiple clients, if they have the right to work with Hive, they can be supported by using this Hive Server 2. So this is one of the service which Hive provides to various clients, to the multiple clients, and also authenticating those clients. Right? So this is another component of this particular subcomponent of Hive services. Third component of this Hive architecture is Hive drivers. Right? Now Hive drivers, they receives Hive query language statements. Right? So this Hive drivers, they receives Hive query language statements submitted by the user. From where? From CLIs and user to CLIs. So through these interfaces, through these shells, user will submit their queries, and who will receive those queries? Hive drivers will receive those queries. So if you remember, in case of MongoDB, we have a prompt in the shell. Similarly, here also we have this kind of prompt. When you run this Hive, you will have this kind of prompt. So that means you are in the CLI. Here you will give commands. But whatever commands you will give, who is going to handle those commands? Because this shell or this command line interface, either it is Hive CLI or Beeline, they just provide you the interface. Right? So through that interface, you can give your queries, your statements, and who will handle that? Hive drivers will handle that. Right? So it creates the session handles for the queries and send the query to the compiler. So whatever the queries the user is sending, right, for a particular session, it will maintain that session and for that query, and then sends the query to the compiler for processing. Right? So there are different kinds of their subcomponents, compilers, optimizer, and executor. These all handle the Hive SQL statement submitted by the user, right? So this first component is Hive compiler. Subcomponent of this particular component is Hive compiler. Now the role of this is it parses the query. This component parses the query. So what is the meaning of parses the query? It performs the semantic analysis, type checking on different query blocks and query expressions by using the metadata which is stored in the metastore, right? And then generates a execution plan, right? So the role of this is it is to parse the query, wherein it performs the semantic analysis and type checking on different query blocks, and then it generates the execution plan, right? The execution plan which is generated by this compiler, this execution plan after parsing the query generated by this execution plan is in the form of DAG, that is directed acyclic graph, where each stage is a map reduce job or operations on SDFS or a metadata operation, right? So this DAG, which is a directed acyclic graph, right? So the execution plan, it creates this DAG. It creates this DAG, which is a directed acyclic graph where each stage is a map reduce job operations on HDFS or a meta operation, right? Now the next is Hive optimizer. Now this optimizer performs the transformation operation on the execution plan, right? So the execution plan which is generated by this Hive compiler is taken by the optimizer, and it transforms that operation and split the tasks into parts to improve efficiency and scalability, right? So this optimizer, if its name also suggests that it is going to optimize the thing, so it performs uh, the transformation on execution plan, right? Whatever the execution plan which is generated by the compiler, it will take that execution plan and then perform transformation operation. So I missed one word here. Operation on the execution plan, right? And then split the task into parts to improve the efficiency and the scalability. The third is the executor, Hive executor. It is also called Hive execution engine, right? So after the compilation, where the compiler generated this execution plan, then it goes to the optimizer, which divide the task into parts. It takes time to execute that execution plan, right? So this particular component, subcomponent, it executes the execution plan, right? So this is the role of this particular component. So compiler, it prepares this execution plan in the form of a DAG. That gives that to the optimizer. Optimizer performs the transformation operation on the execution plan, by dividing the task into subtasks to improve the efficiency and the scalability, and then it is taken care by the executor, where the execution plan will be executed. Fine. So these are the three components, and they work in correlation with each other. So the moment the transfer of operation goes like this, from compiler to optimizer, from optimizer to the executor. Fine. So this is another component. Now, Hive storage and computing basically comprises of the storing the data. So which kind of storage we are using, right? So there is a component called meta store, right? So all those clients, job clients, which in turns communicate with the Hive storage and performance to perform the actions, some actions, right? So the metadata information which is generated in the form of tables generated by the Hive is stored in the Hive meta storage tables, right? So Hive storage and computing, basically it stores the meta information of tables created in Hive. So it stores the metadata information, because in the early slides I have told you that the data in Hive is in the form of tables. So it stores the metadata information of tables created in Hive, this particular component, Hive storage and computing, right? So second, it also whatever the query results, because after this execution phase, if some query is there, so whatever the execution results are there and the data pertaining to that particular query, that again is stored in the table, and it is going to be stored in the Hadoop cluster on HDFS, right? So the query results and the data is going to be stored on in Hadoop cluster on HDFS. So basically this component is the storage component, where the metadata or the query results or the intermediate data is stored in the Hadoop cluster on HDFS, right? Where is that particular component? So the important part of this is the metastore, right? So metastore is a central repository, right, that stores the metadata information. Basically, metadata is part of this Hive storage and computing also, because it is a central repository that store metadata information. So the metadata information that I was talking about in this particular is stored in this particular component. Why I have taken this as a separate component? Because it's a very important component of the Hive architecture. There are different ways in which we can store data in the Hive architecture, right? So that's why I have to take it as a separate component for the explanation. It's a very important keyword in case of Hive architecture, right? So it's a central repository that is a part of your Hive storage and computing, and it stores the metadata information about the structure of tables and partitions. Right. So this particular component is a central repository that stores the metadata information about the structure of the tables and the partitions. Okay. It also stores the information of serialization and deserializations because which is required for read-write operations, right? And the HDFS files where data is stored. So it is just like a relational database. It is analogous to relational database, where all the data related to the particular operation it will be stored, so that the various operations like running various queries can be performed on that particular data. Okay? So there are different ways in which we can configure this metastore, right? Or we can say there are different kind of storage architectures with which we can create a metastore. Right? So there are different modes of deployment for metastore, right? Like we can create a embedded metastore, or we can create a local metastore, or we can create a remote metastore. Okay, so in the next lecture, I will take up this particular these particular topics. What is an embedded metastore? What is a local metastore? What is a remote metastore? But the important thing to take away from this particular slide and this particular architecture of Hive that we have discussed so far is that this metastore is the central repository that stores the data. Right? So whenever there is a operation to be performed, query operations to be performed on the data, we have to go to the metastore. Right? So if I go there in the architecture, you could see there is a Hive metadata store. Right? So drivers, they will also communicate with the metastores. Right? So that we can run various queries which are some may be submitted by any of these applications to this Hive architecture or the Hive component of the for processing. Okay. So in the next lecture, I will discuss this particular. Okay. And what